Okay, you guys, we are going to do a list that I was inspired by a video from WatchMojo.com, and it's titled My Top 10 Movies That Got Ruined by Studio Interference. Now, number 10 originally was Superman 2, but since that movie got replaced, since there's two versions of that movie, I decided to change it. So, and these are all my personal opinions, so let's get started. At number 10, we have Supergirl 1984. I don't know what happened, but this movie this didn't feel like a Supergirl movie. This felt like a freaking chore to get through. It was the studio, and I have the studio to blame for this movie, because this movie should have been much better than what it was. Poor Helen Slater tries, and she is great, and she looks amazing in the costume, but unfortunately, she's not enough to save this movie from falling into the death and falling into the ground. Number 9, we have Kingdom of Heaven. Now, this movie was originally supposed to be a very long film. This was supposed to be 3 hours. And good, right? Ridley Scott had 3-hour long film plans. But unfortunately, the studios had to get their tiny little hands on it and just cut this movie down to a 2-hour runtime, because people and Fox had just screwed over Ridley Scott, and he was so mad about it that he decided to release the director's cut after the theatrical cuts originally released. And that just goes to show, when you mess with Ridley Scott's vision, you're not doing justice to him. Number 8 is Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate. Where do I begin with this, though? Oh my god. This movie was originally supposed to be much more longer than it is now. And this movie had a lot of production problems, I'm telling you. Watch Mojo said everything they needed to say about this movie. All the stuff you heard about Heaven's Gate is true. The studio just freaking disrespected this film. Hang on, this is unedited. And yeah, Michael Cimino is the director of this movie, and this is considered to be one of the worst movies ever, and one of the biggest box office bombs of all time. And this movie was supposed to be more longer, but apparently this movie was just cut down by United Artists, and just the directing stuff. This movie got bad reviews, and I've not seen this movie, but I had to put it on the list. Coming in number 7, I've talked about this movie already. X-Men Origins Wolverine. What happened? So, after X-Men The Last Stand, Fox decided to do an X-Men Origin movie. Sounds like a good idea, right? Wrong. Because the studio had messed with this movie. They messed with the leak wrote print and ruined Deadpool. You ruined Deadpool. One of the best Marvel anti-heroes ever. And this is how you treat him? You really think that you were doing this movie a favor, Fox? No, you just screwed this movie over. And Hugh Jackman, no wonder he hates this movie. No matter, it took 2 more movies to make up for this, and those 2 movies freaking delivered. Okay. And I swear, the next time you make a freaking film like this, it just goes to freaking show that nobody cared. Nobody cared. Number 6 is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I do like this one. I still go by the issues I have with this movie. They have to get their tiny hands on this. Sony, there was a lot of things in the trailers that was cut out, and that is not how you make a freaking Spider-Man movie. And so Webb planned the film as a trilogy, and then the MCU, so things got a lot messy. You put all crap Sinister Six in here for no reason. It didn't really work. And then the studio wanted a lighter tone, which the lighter tone worked, but they focused more on the expanding universe than the character evolution in this movie, and it shows. And this movie got mixed reviews and underperformed, and instead Marvel, they gave the rights back to Marvel. But Amazing Spider-Man 1 is where it suffers from the most, because it's not only the same exact thing as the 2002 movie, but it steals the tone from a much better film in Batman Begins. And that is not a good sign. And there were even scenes that were in the trailer that didn't even make it in the movie. And another thing that you just had to there's not even the lead scene of Irfan Khan. You took that out completely. And The Amazing Spider-Man 1 is my least favorite Spider-Man movie ever. Number 4, Return to Halloweentown. I know this is a Disney Channel original movie, but when you give Debbie Reynolds a 2-scene cameo and replace Kimberly J. Brown with Sarah Paxton, it does not look good for a Halloweentown movie at all. This was that is the 2 things that really does hurt this movie. And I hate having to say this because Debbie Reynolds and Kimberly J. Brown are the ones that holds this franchise together. And yes, I know Debbie Reynolds is no longer with us. May she rest in peace. But this movie should have been a lot better. I don't know if Halloweentown 5 will make up for this, because I'm still very much against the idea. I'm still very much against the idea of Halloweentown 5, because it's not going to be any better. So at this point, no. Just no. People just... Number 3, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, theatrical cut only. Now, the Ultimate Cut is much better, but this movie is very sloppy with its editing. It feels like it's doing too many things in this 2 hour and 31 minute long runtime, and you can tell because Warner Brothers, the 3-hour cut should have been released in theaters. If I was the chairman of Warner Brothers, I would say, hey, you know what? Let's release that 3-hour cut in the theaters. People will like it. and this movie would have been much better received. But instead of releasing the 3-hour ultimate cut, which everyone says it is a better movie, you managed to release this version instead. So, but the theatrical cut is a disappointment. I'll stick with the ultimate cut. I can watch the theatrical cut only for a time waster, but the ultimate cut I would rather watch, and that's the version I would rather have in my movie collection on Blu-ray and DVD, because it is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. Oh boy, number 2. I like this movie, but Alien is one of David Fincher's favorite movies, so a dream come true for him to direct for his first film. But the disappointment he felt when making Alien 3 was hard. And nobody hates this movie more than him. And sets were built before David Fincher and the writers finalized what the story was going to be. They had to work with it. There was a lot of constant rewriting as the sets were being, and they filmed the movie without a complete script, and it caused the director to fight between the cast, the crew, and the studio. And Fox thought he would be easy to control, but he rebelled against Fox by filming scenes, despite Fox just saying no, you can't do this. And a test screening and studio interference forced David Fincher to reshoot much of this movie. And it was a bad experience, and then Fox made a different cut behind his back, and he walked away. Alien 3 should have been much better, but from a production standpoint, if the studio just let David Fincher do his own thing for the first time, I think this would have been a much better film, and I think this movie would have been a better film. And the trouble with production is very understandable. I see why you don't like it. You hate it making this movie, David Fincher. But you've gone on to make great films. Social Network, my favorite movie of yours. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I love that movie. I'm gonna re-review that soon. At number 1, this is another one by Fox. Fantastic. Wow. Just freaking wow. What happens when you get a good director like Josh Trank, an all-star cast of Kate Mara, Miles Teller, Jamie Bell, Toby Kebbell, and Michael B. Jordan, and you had an idea that could have worked, a budget that would have worked, but unfortunately, Fox had to get their tiny hands on this movie. That's what happens when you mess with a director's vision, Fox. And this is one of the reasons why I am excited, but I'm also very cautious about X-Men Dark Phoenix, because I do not want this to be a repeat of that film. And I'm going to go in depth on why this movie was kind of messy and was pretty much sloppy, because I liked this movie first time. Now, hang on. Sorry, I had to do something really quickly, but this could have been a really good movie. Fantastic should have been much better than this, because you can tell there are a lot of things missing. Stuff that was in the trailers is not even there. Fox just had to screw him over. This movie bombed in theaters. This is one of the worst. This is the worst movie, comic book movie, guys, and the worst Fantastic movie. And sources inside the studio said they have praised Trank's version, which remains unseen. But reshoots and stuff, Kate Mara's wig, new scenes added more humor, a lighthearted tone. But Trank's version, taking this movie away from Josh Trank, no. But you recut this movie only to do it, and that is not good. So, at the end of the day, Fantastic is my number one movie that got ruined by the studio. This should have been a heck of a lot better than what the production troubles, man. So that was my top 10 films ruined by the studio. I hope you enjoy it. Stick around for my reviews of The Punisher, Justice League. Disney month is still going. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think about this list. Tell me a list of movies of your own that got ruined by studio. It can be some of mine. And I will see you guys later. And if you like this, you can come here and we can have a good time.